we'll have to check on how much notice we need to give for those public hearings, okay?
Yeah, if they need a 2-week notice, then
Yeah.
the next meeting's too close.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to talk those wonderful numbers and watch your eyes all glaze over.
Well, they've been glazing for a while now.
Yes. So, yes, in terms of that Schedule 2, and looking at a March start date, somewhere between $2 and $4 million is what I would suggest that we have that budget amendment at.
March
Any-
2026? Or this March? For
This
the
March,
schedule
this
too?
March, this March,
Okay.
in 2
Is
months.
there a completion estimated date on that?
The Schedule 2 is, actually won't be finished until sometime in 2026, but the bulk of the work should be done this year. Is that this calendar year? Is that right, Eric?
I don't believe so. I believe it's supposed to be completed in 28. There's something about the paint and the erection of the tower.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
How about I double check on that completion date for you, but we still need appropriation authority to start building them, or paying those bills. If you want to decide, just a preliminary number tonight, like I said, between 2 and 4 million for this fiscal year.
That's a couple $9, Max, for instance.
This is merely a decision to establish appropriation authority preliminary to the public hearings, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a motion that we approve for a $4 million authority and hope like crazy we don't have to spend it.
Would you accept, instead of approving, proposing? Move to
Fair
propose?
enough, move to propose.
Okay. Is there a second?
For 4 million?
Mm-hmm. For the budget amendment?
It's not a commitment, merely establishing
Can
authority.
I ask a question on that? So we do that,
Not until there's a second to the
Okay.
motion. Which has now died due to lack of a second. What is council's pleasure?
Let's hear from Doug.
okay, my question is, has any projects, and I'm not an expert by any means, but there's gonna be cost overruns, and I hope these numbers all reflect the fact that they're gonna come to you or to you and say, oh, we ran into this, we need another 50,000, 100,000, whatever that number's gonna be, and you hope that all fits within hence why the 4 million being the high side of that number, they come in less, obviously.
You're misunderstanding, Doug.
Mm-hmm.
What we need to do is approve, we need to have appropriation authority on our record so that
Right.
we can legally spend the money.
I understand
This
that.
fiscal year, okay? The contract amounts do include factors for overruns.
That was my question. Yeah, didn't mean to misappropriate the question, but yes, yeah, okay, good enough.
If I could interject briefly, Mayor?
Sure.
We should be reminded that a motion is not an approval. A motion is a request to have a decision made and to talk about it. So when it dies in motion, that means we don't even want to talk about it. It's the vote that comes after the motions, that's the actual approval. So if something dies in motion, that really means we don't want anything to do with it at all. We don't want to think about it, we don't want to talk about it. We need to make sure that that's what we mean when we don't offer a second.
And again, I will ask, what is council's pleasure with respect to Schedule 2 and appropriation authority?
I'll make the motion a second time. I mean, the authority has to exist. I move that we accept the proposed appropriation authority for $4 million.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that motion.
It's It's been moved and seconded to propose $4 million in appropriation authority for fiscal year 2025 for purposes of Schedule 2, the Townsend Water System improvements. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. We will get those budget documents prepared, budget amendment documents prepared, and complete the necessary notices for a public hearing.
If you don't mind, Mayor, when it comes time to set all that up, would you make sure we have a very detailed description of what this really means to the public?
Sure?
Thank you.
You mean beyond budget doesn't mean cash?
Right.
Okay.
That's
Gotta
really what
lighten
this-
this up a little bit.
That's really what this
too.
boils down to a
Okay.
little bit, is that we talk about these big numbers,
tense
but it
right
doesn't
there.
mean a check operates.
Right, right. Okay, moving right along. Townsend Water System, I mentioned the January 13th start date. Hopefully, we won't have our next blizzard on that day. Peter, you have
So-
some news for us?
Yeah, I do. So, I don't know if this was conveyed, but the previous time that I sent, the quitclaim deed to Lloyd, back at the end of November, I realized in the kind of December, mid-December, that nothing had come back. And so I just called him and said, hey, did you ever send that back to us? He said, I sent it back like 2 days after I got it, like right around Thanksgiving. So I called the Cut Bank post office and they told me it could be anywhere. It could be in a different Townsend in the United States, it could be stuck up in our machine. And the reason that happened was because I was told at the post office that you couldn't prepay a priority coming back, that there was no way to do that. So I called back there and I got in touch with, I forget her name, the gal with the hair pulled back, that's been there forever, she knows all the things. And of course, there was actually a way to do that, the other employee just didn't know how to do it. So put a bunch of stamps on the second mailing, Lloyd sent it back, priority, there was tracking on it, I got it just a couple days ago, I talked with Linda. She says if I come clear out her driveway, shovel her driveway, she'll come down and sign it. I think she's half joking, but we're supposed to be meeting at 11 tomorrow at the clerk and recorder. And she said if she's not there, that I gotta come look for her, so she's she's a pistol. So that's the plan, we're gonna meet there, she's gonna sign it, it's got Lloyd's signature on it already. I'll wait there rather than them mailing it out, that's my typical, I usually just drop it off and then they mail it back. But I wait there till she puts the sticker on it, like if everything's paid for, then I'll hand deliver it down here, and that should be it for that parcel. Typically the city will own that parcel now after the POS have signed off on it.
Offer them our
Yeah,
kindest regards.
we're like that close.
This has been a long,
like 9 months between research and
Yes, and this is the
looking around.
third time.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
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 So,
I swore maybe we should paper the walls of City Hall with copies of it, just to
Yeah.
make sure that we know. Thank you for that
yeah,
update.
it's pretty exciting.
Okay. Any information related to ordinance review?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Events committee?
We have a meeting on Monday at 2 p.m. here at City Hall,
and we have a draft.
and we do have a draft.
Okay. That's the 13th?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Telecommunications?
Peter?
Sorry, what?
Telecommunications, Peter?
Yeah, no. That's gonna be put off to the next one, I think.
Is there hope that you'll have time to do it?
This month? Potentially? I mean, a small amount of hope. I guess there's always a little amount of hope.
Peter, you've offered us your resignation. Is there hope that you'll do it before you close the door?
Well, I mean, I guess that depends on where you're at in the hiring process. I mean, technically, I'm not under contract right now. So I guess we probably should discuss that, just like get something on the record for an extension and talk about, it's not on here, but where we're at in the, hiring process. I told you I'd definitely be good to staying on until you got someone hired, so, But I don't know, I don't have any updates on that.
It's the one ordinance that we need your skills.
Yeah. Well, my predecessor, I mean, my successor might have more skills than me in that.
Fireworks committee, thanks, Peter.
Yeah.
Fireworks committee,
We have a meeting scheduled for the 22nd, where we'll be, bringing drafts to look over and refine.
okay, great. Nothing new on our Broadway garbage cans, nothing new on the sewer ordinance, and nothing new on the Broadwater County Hazard Mitigation Plan at this time. Second chance for public comment? Okay. Legal services. We did get one proposal, and then the holidays hit. I would like 2 council members to participate in an interview.
I would be willing to do that.
Okay,
I think I can probably do that.
okay, thank you.
Sorry, Mayor, only one proposal?
Only one proposal came in. We had 3 inquiries. And one of the other 2 inquiries came from the League of Cities and Towns. When we touched base with the league, thinking that they were going to submit a proposal, the response was the league would step in if no other attorneys were interested. As in, they didn't want to take business away from private practice.
Okay.
Okay, so I will contact the attorney and then let you know. We had an item in the minutes from the last meeting about the League of Cities and Towns recommending that we assign an individual to represent the city at state legislative sessions, the hearings, if necessary. And we didn't get that put on the agenda. It's rather ministerial in nature. Suggestions are the mayor and or the president of the council. And I see all eyes going. I'm happy to do that on behalf of the city.
Do either of you 2 have interest in being a liaison with the legislature? Do you 2 wanna fight for it?
I do not really think I have that amount of time on my hands, so I would defer that to the mayor.
All
If that's
right.
all right.
You can
by
tell
you.
me that, would you?
Absolutely, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Absolutely, and to that end, and for council members and members of the public too, if you access the legislative branch website and navigate that, there is a way to set up bill tracking. So you can create basically a series of bills that you wanna pay attention to, you wanna follow, you wanna get notified when the hearings are, when the action's been taken. It's rather a cool thing, actually.
And that's on the MMIA website?
No, this is on the mt.gov, so the state's website, but get into the legislative branch and follow the bills. There's a little bit more to it than that, but it's not that difficult to set up. Gives you an opportunity then you can read the bills. Right now, there are over 4,000, combination of 4,000 bill requests and bills, some of which were pre-introduced. Also and I will also share with you that some of those bills will never get drafted. They're placeholders. Other bills, they might get drafted and then combined, multiple, same topic, multiple bills, they'll just get combined into one as the bill drafters work with the requesters. But still, it looks like the legislature has a lot of work ahead of it.
Peter?
Yes, Peter?
Just following up on that too, so I think it's leg.leg.mt.gov for that general site. But also, I received an email, I thought it was from the league, but it could have been from the Friends of the Third Branch, or just like group, kind of protecting judicial interest, separation of powers. But basically this year, if you want to testify, that email said that you need to create an account with the legislature, which I just did today. It was very easy to do. It's only like a page or two of filling in information. But then that allows you to submit like written comment or schedule yourself to participate in the hearing with some drop-down menus. It seemed pretty user-friendly, but what that email said is outside of, if you don't do that, you won't be able to participate. So,
Even as a walk-in?
yeah,
Interesting.
I would have to double check on that. I would think that if they're going to preclude you based on internet access, there might be some public participation constitutional issues there. So, I'd have to go back and reread the email and see if it characterizes what they're trying to do correctly.
Thank you,
Yeah, you're welcome.
appreciate that. Carrie, do you have anything for us tonight? Okay. Eric?
Mine's rather simple. They're very close to having the, streets project and alley work done for a proposal to go out, so I've actually seen a very rough draft. For the alley work, they're waiting for some information on, moving, utilities, if there's any that need to be moved, so they were getting the bids on that to make sure they have an adequate number, so, yeah. So, it's actually close enough that they might be contacting council shortly to, be able to move forward with that project, so, anyway.
Okay. We're apparently going to just dig up the town this year. Okay, Doug, you have
Oh,
anything?
I'm good.
Vivian?
I do. I had a question about, since we don't have a ordinance person anymore for the time being, but she was working on the cat ordinances with some people, who is gonna pick the ball up and finish that, or is it going to die?
Animal control, the next animal control person will pick that up, and actually very little had been done with respect to the cat ordinance.
Okay. And then, they also were talking about upgrades to the kennel system over there. Is that still something that they might consider exploring?
Council approved, budget for that, for this fiscal year. Whether it gets done or not, dependent on number of factors. And probably should be done. I've heard some rather pointed comments with respect to the nature of our shelter. Of course, we wouldn't need it if dogs didn't get out.
Right. And then a while, like a few meetings ago, we had that military grant study that they were looking for a liaison from council. Did we appoint one, or did somebody, step up outside and say, hey, I'll be that liaison person?
I think I'm the point person.
Are you the point person? Okay. And finally, the poop stations for the other parks. I would like to, send a couple letters to some community groups to see if they're interested in sponsoring some of those. And, I have the original one that was brought in, that was put in the park down in Harrison. And so they have the same one, but it's upgraded a little bit. It's actually a little bit better because it has a little tiny, roof over where you pull the bag, so it's more weatherproof. But it's the same kind of thing, and it only costs around $209. And then, how many bags do you think we're going through down there? Are you still with the original boxes?
Kenny, your stocks that himself.
Okay,
So I don't know what they're using.
Alright. So, I just didn't know if that would be okay to pursue that with some sponsor clubs, or what do you guys
Well,
think?
You know what? We don't have it on the agenda.
True. So put it on the agenda. Alright.
Please.
Got it.
But, along with that, put together a half-sheet plan. How many parks, you know, let's be specific
I
so
got
that,
Google
Karen,
Maps
so the
already.
public knows
Did you get
exactly what
that?
we're doing.
Dog way station? Yes, thank you.
That way we can pull the trigger on it, on something official.
Okay. JD,
I assume that we haven't had a single person step up for the Ward 1 open council position.
we have not to date. I reached out to a resident in Ward 1 again tonight, and I believe some conversations with other residents of the ward are taking place tomorrow, maybe.
What are the geographical bounds of Ward 1?
It's
The,
north of Broadway, east of Cedar, except for the county building.
actually, the boundary goes right through the middle of the building.
I know, but it's still the county building. I wish I was a fly on the wall for that decision, but it's basically that third of the city.
North of Broadway, east of Cedar.
Right.
Okay, so heading
From-
towards the museum and not towards the mill.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
And we have had no applicants yet for the compliance officer position. Had one inquiry, is all.
I'm sorry, Eric.
Yeah.
Angie,
No, ma'am.
okay. Anyone wanna approve claims?
I make a motion that we approve the claims.
I'll second that. We'll all second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the claims. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. What else do you wanna do tonight?
I wanna make a motion that we adjourn. Finally, Nate's not here, and I actually, first time I've ever got to do that.
Second.
It's been moved
You
and
can sit on the
seconded
edge
to
of your chair
adjourn.
waiting
Anyone
for that,
wanna
right?
discuss that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you all very much for coming out tonight and taking
You
part
guys
of
made
the
that
day.
sound like it was painful, that wasn't painful.
It's only been an hour. You should have been here for the 2-hour meeting.
Seriously, thanks for staying.
Yes, and, I'll let, make it myself, and then I'll let Jamie, actually, put it on the calendar, I think, I'll check.
Stay warm.
Thanks again, Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I think it's great.
How did I miss that we're starting Schedule 2 in March?
That would be, I would definitely, you want me to write? Oh, that'd be good, yeah, sticky note. I know, we all have the phone, but then. What happened?
That's the engineer talking to the people, they're just.
No, it's been,
Yeah, I think it
no, I know that. And maybe even.
So are we gonna have another subcontractors meeting, pre-meeting, pre-construction meeting with the